right, everybody, I am back, and hopefully we have some decent lighting here today. I know some of my other videos gets kind of dark, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen. So I'm going to be entitling this talk, if you will, Food Allergy Chaos. So why did I bring this up? Well, first off, Cynthia suggested it, but we have been having a lot of doctors even trying to push back or having pushback against when we're telling patients that they have food allergies. The main reason why we're getting this pushback is because they don't understand how food allergies can impact people's health. So the only thing that they have at their disposal is an EpiPen. So the majority of the times what they're going to do when you're testing for food allergies, you're going to get the skin prick test done. That skin prick test is usually going to test for an IgE reaction, your anaphylactic reaction, which is just a tiny little snippet of your entire immune system response. Why do they test that one? Well, it can be life-threatening. Is it important to know which foods could potentially kill you? 100%. Now, what about those foods where you eat them, maybe you have a healthy protein bar? All right, Cynthia had a healthy protein bar and she had a runny nose. She had some clearing the throat, some other symptoms. She had some itchiness in her chin. What about those ones? And what does that mean for your health? So when we have these reactions, we have our IgE, think of E as emergency, and we have our IgG. Okay, IgE emergency, that's one is blaringly obvious. That's why we can't have peanuts on a plane anymore, because a lot of kids are allergic to peanuts. And then we have a lot of people who have IgGs who are walking around and don't know it. Why is that? Because it could be something as harmless as itchiness, clearing in the throat, a little bit of bloating, discomfort. I get really itchy in the palm of my hand. Sometimes I'll have a runny nose and it'll stuff up and then I'll get a sinus issue. There's all kinds of, or you can do the ring test. I like the ring test too. See if your wedding ring has a hard time going on and off your finger. If it does, you probably had something that you're allergic to, because it's going to increase your level of inflammation. All right, Time magazine back in 2004 found that the root cause of some of the top killers in the United States are all linked into your level of inflammation. So if that's the case, we're talking about heart disease, we're talking about cancer, we're talking about diabetes, we're talking about Alzheimer's disease. Those are all diseases that we don't typically want to end up with. If that is the case, then how about we do something about that? How about we have some predictability of health into the future? And so how do we do that? We do it the wellness way style, which is we don't guess, we test. So we want to make sure we test these certain food allergies to see what could be eliciting a response in our bodies. Now, when do you do this? When do you test yourself? What age would you test yourself? Well, I can tell you from experience that when my son, or our son, Megan and I's son, Hoyt, all right, little big man, when he hits that age and we start introducing foods into the diet, yeah, he's 8 months and he's a tank right now. It's just running off of pure breast milk. But when he hits that 1 year mark and we start to worry about introducing foods in, I will absolutely get his food allergies tested as well as my wife's food allergies tested again. Why? Because when we're talking about immune systems and we're talking about food allergies and negative reactions that could possibly happen with our child, why would we not want to test it? It just makes sense to do it. So that way when we mash up some avocado or we mash up some whatever it is, cauliflower, we know that when we give our kid that nutrition, he's getting 100% from it. He's not going to be damaging his digestive tract. He's not going to be damaging his digestive tract to the point of leaky gut. He's not going to trigger an anaphylactic reaction. He's not going to be inflamed. He's not going to have to worry about headaches, migraines, digestive issues, hormonal issues, developmental issues. Because realistically, if we're eating things that are constantly making our bodies inflamed, what's going to happen? We're eventually going to get levels of inflammation that's going to creep up to the head. We can get headaches. We can get migraines. We actually have we actually have research from immunolabs. They've done studies on migraine headaches and a food allergy link. So all of the people that are out there who are like, I've been suffering with migraines for years, my first question I typically ask is, what do you eat and have you had your food allergies tested? Kind of my default for a lot of stuff. It's probably annoying to a lot of people, but It's just that simple. Get them tested, figure out what food you're allergic to, and avoid it. Make sure you're getting adjusted, avoid food allergies. Ta-da! You're good. Okay, now there could be some other complicating factors, don't get me wrong. I've had brain damage in the past. I've had a subdural hematoma. That could be causing some issues with brain inflammation. But if we have that going on and we eat foods that we're allergic to that are also going to increase our level of inflammation, what do you think that's going to do to our headaches? It's going to increase them. Increase frequency, duration, and intensity. It's not going to be doing us any good at all. All right? So we need to think of this, again, at just basic fundamental level. Get your food allergies tested and know the link of how it can be affecting your health. Now we're working with kids, adults, parents, anybody that you could possibly think of. And we're constantly testing food allergies. It's one of the first tests that we run because realistically, I want to empower my patients, all you guys out there, I want to empower you to be able to make proper decisions on what you're putting in your mouth. I don't want you to have to rely on me. I don't want you to have to try to do elimination diets, which have been proven time and time again not to freaking work. I want you to have concrete evidence because that's how I resonate. I want to see that concrete evidence to say, I can or cannot have this food. No questions asked about that. If I can't have it, cool. Let's find alternatives. If I can, cool. Let's eat it. All right? So one of the cases that I'm working with right now is actually a kid, a little young buck. I'm not going to tell the exact age, but they were working with some people down in a certain area in Maryland. I'm finding out Maryland is a pain in the butt for a state to live in. From midwifery, you having to have special testing passed to be able to have a birth at home, to different companies. I was working with a patient who's getting charged an arm and a leg just to get told that he had to spend, it was like $1,800 on supplements for like a month. It's ridiculous. They're overcharging and under testing people down there, and they're just scaring people and not getting results. But that being said, anyways, so this patient was coming to me, her daughter, dealing with food allergies. She had constipation. Okay, constipation. If you're constipated, are you going to want to eat food? No, absolutely not. Because if you eat more food, what do you think that's going to do to you? It's going to block you up more. It's going to make you more uncomfortable. That digestive blockage is going to cause pain. Nobody wants to feel pain, especially if you're a young kid. Kids aren't supposed to feel pain. I mean, shoot, Hoyt smashed his face the other day, cried for a minute, and he's back up to normal. I know that if I was an adult and I did the same thing that he did, I would probably still be down on the ground right now crying a little bit because my face would hurt. They're not supposed to have pain that young. And if they do, we want to figure out why it is. So they were going to this place and they were over prescribing, if you will, food. And they were trying to force this girl to eat more and more and more. The school was trying to force this kid to eat more and more and more. When you're constipated, you should not be eating more food on top of it. You should figure out how to get rid of that blockage, clear it out, and figure out what caused the blockage to begin with. We tested a food allergy. She was 5 years old. She had 15 different food allergies. 15 foods that were leading to her bowels blocking up. Talked to the parents. The place that they were taking her to get evaluated and get some nutrition things done were feeding her food allergies without knowing it, feeding her food allergies every single day. The school was feeding her kid chocolate milk 3 times a day. Guys, if you're worried about digestive issues, if you're worried about constipation, if you're worried about just being healthy, is chocolate milk ever good for you? No, absolutely not. No way, no how, no questions asked. The reason that they were doing that is because they saw that as the daughter wasn't getting enough nutrition. So what did they want to do? Pound her with a whole bunch of horrible calories to try to get her to have nutrition. And they chose liquid because liquid, you could just drink it. There's less chewing. There's less blockage. It's just going to come down and seep in and just sit there. Not good. When we tested her food allergies, we got the results back. Like I said, there's about 15 different foods. I believe it's 15. I've seen a lot come through the past couple of weeks. About 15 foods that were on there. And it's not like your cheeseburgers. They're not your McDonald's. They're not your Burger King. They're everyday normal foods that people eat. Broccoli, cauliflower, almonds, almond milk, okay, milk, cheese, casein, egg. All of these foods that are on there that aren't stereotypically bad for you. But if you have an allergy to them, they are. Okay, it's just like anything else. If you have an allergy to anything else, you're going to want to avoid it. What's the difference between putting it in our mouth? It's a more emotional attachment, and it's more of a pain in the butt to try to figure out food alternatives, because I can't have milk. What can I have? I can't have eggs. What can I have for breakfast? It's like, well, you don't even eat eggs for breakfast ever. You have coffee and a donut and you're on your way. Why are you now worried about eggs? So when we were continuing to work with this patient, we were getting a lot of pushback from the school, and we were getting a lot of pushback from the company that they were working with. And they said that basically the testing that we did, the food allergy testing that we did, had no scientific backing to it. Why would I have you run a test that didn't have any scientific value to it? Chaos to begin with. Second off, when you know you've eliminated some of these foods and you've already seen a change in your health, you can kind of put two and two together to know that this food is not serving my body. So every time I put this in here, I feel like this. It's pretty freaking simple to avoid, okay? And again, I don't respect you anyhow when you're telling a child that they need to have freaking chocolate milk. You're an idiot. You're a terrible person. Stop trying to feed your kid chocolate milk. Find an alternative. You can do chocolate oat milk if you want to. It's going to be far less inflammatory than regular chocolate milk. And if somebody's trying to force your kid to do anything, don't even get me started on vaccines, but if they're trying to force your kid to do anything, screw them, get them somewhere else. Take them somewhere else, okay? So the level of evaluation that we do is always very, very specific, and we wouldn't waste money or time on a test. And not to mention, you guys aren't the only ones doing these tests. Every single one of our Wellness Way doctors are running tests on ourselves. So why would I run a test on you that I wouldn't do myself and I wouldn't obey myself? I do. I'm about to get my food allergies tested again. I'm going to tell you why, because I'm kind of holding the picture off for a little bit so we can see how inflammatory certain things can be for you. And we can develop new food allergies as time goes on. If we get stuck in the rotation of eating the same foods over and over and over again, and we don't do food cycling, we can develop new food allergies. Because ultimately, if we have leaky gut, which is what basically will express food allergies, if we have that going on, and we're saying, okay, well, I'm allergic to these 5 things, or these 10 or 15 things, I'm going to avoid those, I'm going to eat the crap out of all these every single day, it's going to be the same, because I don't want to venture out and eat new, creative, and exciting things. You still have leaky gut. You're avoiding some of the irritants, some of the stimuli that's going to cause it to open up further, but you're still putting foods in that could potentially not get broken down properly, slip through the digestive tract, that's going to cause inflammation, going to cause an immune system reaction. Okay? So people on like bodybuilder diets, and this was me. I was on a bodybuilder diet for the longest time, trying to shove myself full of food all day, every day, because I was trying to bulk, or I was trying to lean down, or I was trying to do this or that, and I just kept feeding. That had a very unhealthy relationship with food. And what that did to me was cause massive digestive distress. I ate the same thing every day, same seasonings, tons of hot sauce, rice, chicken, beef, white fish, tilapia back in the day. All the horrible things you can think of, I was tossing into my body. I wrecked my digestive tract. I did that to myself. But now I'm aware, and now I've found proper testing. I keep pointing at my screen because I have all the research down here. Keep finding proper testing that allows us to know what I was allergic to and what I was throwing into my body. Okay? So, first off, don't do that. Okay? So let's go with this study here. There's a U of M study about IBS. Okay? Pull this up here. I'm going to cancel this, and this. Okay. Now I'm going to share my screen for a second. There we go. All right. So, okay, I don't know what that was. Can you guys? Hey, Stacy. Can you hear me, Stacy? Or Dr. Stacy? I don't know if I cut out or not. I got some weird message on my chart here saying that I needed to do something. So, anyways, so this study right here is talking about your irritable bowel. Okay. So if I'm doing this, how the heck do I even zoom? I'm special today. All right. So, come on. There it is. Okay. Improving quality of life and self-reported GI disorders, an open trial food elimination guide guided by immunoblueprint food allergy testing. Okay. So basically what they did is they had 84 subjects, and they tested their food allergies to see what may or may not have been happening. Okay, got the study design in here. This is all, again, it's all research here, and you can always have fun and go down to the conclusion. Okay, conclusion: the results of our study suggest that utilizing an elimination diet of IgG reactive foods detected with the immunobloodprint test in the participants with unresolved self-reported GI disorders improves QOL measures, quality of life measures. Thus, combined with the subsequent elimination diet, may offer the opportunity for such patients to improve their dietary behaviors with symptoms by utilizing a tailored individually specific program. Okay, so basically what they found is that this helped out tremendously. Okay, it reduced the cost of IBS to the patient, employer, and overall healthcare system. So people started feeling better. They started doing better. And what was it from? It was avoiding their food allergies. It wasn't your skin prick IgE allergies. It was your IgG. IgGs affect you every single day. Whether you know it or not, it's affecting you. If you want to avoid them, give yourself 2 weeks, and I dare you to toss that food back into your regimen and see how crappy you feel. All right? You will feel it. Your toxic bucket will overflow and you'll feel like crap. Okay? So that's just one thing. There's so many different research studies that are out there from immunolabs, because we don't guess, we test, and then we test our tests. So it's pretty cool stuff. So now I'm going to branch into one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up this topic with food allergies, developing new food allergies, and what happened to this guy. Okay? So I've been holding this in limbo for a little while, so I'm going to stretch this out here a little bit so that way you can see. I'm going to go to this side of the screen. This was me. Okay, let me tell you a little bit of a background story on this awesome night. So it's the first time that Megan and I had gone out really since we've had Hoyt. So it's been about 7.5, 8 months at this point. So what we did, we went out. She picked a nice place to go out to eat. Didn't have my food allergies. We were there. We went to some place to listen to some live music. We're old because we're parents. 9 o'clock comes and we're exhausted. We just want to go back to the hotel that we rented, kind of the little staycation that people do. So we go back there and I take my shirt off. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, I feel horrible right now. I feel so hot. And I looked down and it was dark, and I was able to see that I had raised bumps all over me. So what in the world was that? So you can see this picture off the side right here. This picture of me was showing, and you can actually, you can't see it all the way up. It was taking over my temples. It was taking over my, can I do, no, it blacks out. It's taking over my temples, taking over my cheeks, taking over my throat. You can see that. And I had like this cape of hives or inflammation on my body. I didn't have anything I was allergic to. Okay, this was more of an anaphylactic response. My throat was closing off. I couldn't breathe. I could hardly talk. It was such a hard time. And I started texting around. I text Dr. Flynn, text Dr. Greg. I was like, what the heck is going on? Is this normal? What did I do? So I'm just drinking Albizia. It's one of our, we call it the oopsie, or I call it the oopsie herb. Drinking the heck out of Albizia, which is a natural antihistamine. It calms down the inflammatory response. And I wanted to keep this stuff at bay as much as I could, so that way I didn't have to get rushed to the hospital on our freaking date night. So Megan will joke around, I ruined our first date night out, and I will 100% admit that. I have no idea what caused it, which is one of the most stressful things to me. I don't know what I need to do to avoid it. So what do I need to do? Retest my food allergies. I need to figure out if there's something else that I may have developed an allergy to while I was avoiding those other foods in the process. So what I did, this is the before picture, this is before the Albizia, this is the after, so this is the next morning. I mean, you could tell, I was a little bit red still, but you could tell that the significant level of hives were gone. I woke up, I drank probably about a half a bottle to 3/4 a bottle of Albizia between that instant, probably a half a bottle right off the bat. And then I woke up every hour, because Dr. Flynn told me to, every hour to basically drink more Albizia to make sure I didn't, to make sure that I did wake up that next morning. So this is how strong Albizia can be too. And this is actually one of the things I wanted to talk about today. I will always have a bottle of Albizia on hand, no matter where I am. Albizia and Kava are probably the two most consumed supplements by this guy right here. Kava helps to calm me down, helps to get you level-headed, and Albizia helps with any inflammatory responses. The other cool thing too is, with this obvious thing happening in hand here, This was at the hotel. This was back at the house. The two of these here was 1 day's difference. Now, I'm not saying that if you have an anaphylactic reaction to not use an EpiPen and to use Albizia instead. I would never tell you to do that. No way, no how. If you need it, have it. If not, rely on some Albizia. I didn't know if this was an anaphylactic response or not. I've never had an anaphylactic response in my body, but I felt my throat closing down and I couldn't breathe, so I kind of had a feeling that it was. This was strong enough to take enough Albizia to knock it out of my system so that way I could reduce the inflammation, reduce the swelling, and allow myself to breathe again. Okay? How does this come into play further? Well, I'm going to keep this disgusting picture of myself up on the screen here. Think about allergy season coming up. I don't know what it is. Maybe we keep having these calm winters, and we just keep having more and more allergies that keep coming through. A lot of people getting sinus infection, allergies, all of this fun, delightful stuff. So Albizia has natural antihistamine properties. It also helps to open up the upper respiratory pathways. It's a pretty great thing to have. So instead of taking a Zyrtec, Claritin, Allegra, one of those things, why not try Albizia first? It's natural, no side effects to it, so if you feel good, calms down the inflammation. If you need a little bit more support, then talk to one of your wellness way doctors and see why you may have a hyperactive immune system. So this is also great for kiddos. If you have digestive issues, digestive distress, if a kid has a bad reaction to foods, they're gassy, they have a rash. If Megan accidentally has a food allergy and she breastfeeds Hoyt and Hoyt drinks that milk that came from her, he'll get a little bit of a rash on his face, whether it's right here, on his neck, just a couple little bumps. Telltale sign, okay, something slipped into something that Megan ate, that transferred onto Hoyt. And most commonly when moms have food allergies, your kid's going to get your antibodies, so they're probably going to have allergies to those foods too. Now, it's not concrete. You might have an allergy to egg, and your kid might do fine with eggs. Hoyt does terrible with eggs. So Megan can't have them. She's allergic to them. Hoyt can't have them because he'll have a reaction to them. But we'll give Hoyt a little bit of Albizia. It's not an adult-sized dose Albizia, but it helps tremendously. It calms down the response, the same thing. He doesn't get anywhere near as bad as I did, but we can help to keep that at bay by keeping Albizia on hand. So, at the end of the day, when people try to tell you that food allergies aren't legit or there's no research behind food allergies, it's because they're typical medical doctors. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Typical medical doctors feel like they have put their time in by the time they get out to practice. And they are not interested in learning anything else than what they had to learn to be able to pass the boards. And so what they're going to do is if somebody comes in with more information than they have, I'm going to block this little light thing, they come in with more information than they have, they're going to try to disprove your theory or your opinion on certain things because that's less things that they have to learn. That's also keeping more money in their pockets because if you come in and you have hives, they're going to be able to give you a medication for that. They're going to make some money off of it, okay? If you know what's causing your hives, you're no longer going to your drug dealer to get your hive control medication. So there's a certain cause and effect to these things. Clarice, good to see you on here. Had a rash on my arm and could not get rid of it after putting Albizia topically on it once. It was gone within 24 hours. That stuff is legit. Absolutely. You can put Albizia on a wound. So not just a wound, but like if you sprain your ankle, you put some Albizia on there with a warm compress. You probably did the same thing too whenever you had the rash on your arm. If you do a warm compress, you're going to have more vasodilation. Those pores are going to open up and it's going to allow for more of the Albizia to drop into the skin and you're going to start calming that reaction. So there's a lot of huge positives to using Albizia, but we want to make sure, again, we know what is causing our body to respond the way that it is, because ultimately there's always going to be a cause and effect whenever we have certain symptoms, certain reactions, because our body's trying to keep us alive, and if we keep interfering with our body's ability to be able to keep us alive with medications, or we keep putting the same poisons in our body time and time again, because that's realistically, that's all food allergies are, it's a little bit of poison every single time, we're going to keep causing insult to our immune system. And then don't be surprised if sooner rather than later you're going to develop autoimmune disease, some sort of cancers, irritable bowel syndrome, irritable bowel disorder, psoriasis. You can have rashes on your skin. You can have yeast infection, parasite infection, bacterial infections. You can have anything across the board. How did that happen is the number one question. And I get, well, I don't know. I haven't been tracking you your entire life. I don't know what your mom did before she had you. I don't know how bad her digestive tract was. I don't know if you were bottle fed or not. Your mom said that you were breastfed, but sometime down the line, she could have said, oh, the doctor told me that I only needed to breastfeed you for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and I switched you to formula or full food. You could have developed allergies by the time before you were even 1 year old. So make sure you get yourself tested to have predictability of what you want for the future. If you don't want to be healthy into the future, then don't get tested. Ignorance can be bliss for you. But if you truly want to be healthy, then you have to make sure you're getting your butt in gear. And it's not always easy. It's not nice to have allergic reactions like this. It's not fun to avoid foods that are otherwise delicious for you. Okay, I have black and white pepper on my food allergy list. That's a pain in the butt. I have garlic. I have oregano. There's so many, cinnamon, clove. There's so many different things that I can't have because my body developed an allergic reaction to it. So I'm going to be retesting my food allergies here soon. Whenever I do, I'm going to be posting that up on the chart here for you. But I've been able to, in the past couple months or so, I've been able to reduce my body's inflammation down because I had 3 bacterial infections last year because of mold poisoning. I had a little bit of yeast overgrowth on my follow-up test, so I went from 3 bacterial infections to yeast. I'll take it. 3 bacterial infections was damaging my immune system so much that I developed yeast. It's okay. It happens. So now, what do? Same thing. Keep moving forward. Every test is not a better or worse type test. It's what do I need to do right now to keep my body in sync so that way I can be healthy going into the future. So if this helped you guys out, awesome. I just noticed now my logo and logo over there match pretty well. So if you have not been tested for food allergies, you might want to do it. Clarice, I'm sure you have, obviously. Stacey, I know you've been tested for food allergies, another one of our Wellness Way docs. Get yourselves tested. The other thing that you'll notice too, this is a fun fact too, again going for allergies here. When we have allergies, food allergies, it's going to cause a hyperactive immune response. We're going to be causing our body to go after those foods time and time and time again. So when we come in contact with pollen, we have food allergies we're consuming. You have pollen that we're also technically consuming. We're going to be overburdened as an immune system, and what that's going to do is trigger more antihistamine or more histamine response. It's going to cause more stuffiness in the eyes, nose, sinuses, everything across the board. So make sure you get your food allergies tested for this spring. Avoid the known allergens or known toxic ingredients such as your milks, your cheeses, whey proteins. Those types of things can affect you too. I know a little side note on whey protein. Whey protein comes from cow's milk protein. Okay, or from cow's milk. Now, if you have an allergy to cow's milk, you cannot have whey protein. And an example of this is I've been working with a lady for a very long time now, and her mom had, I believe it was mouth or throat cancer, something along those lines, and she was told that she died from that. So this patient was coming to me and she kept clearing her throat time and time and time and time again. But sometimes she would come in, all the way from Ohio, she'd come in, she would clear her throat every 2 seconds, and other times she'd be totally fine. So I'm thinking, like, there has to be some sort of trigger, or immune system trigger, that's causing her body to express that throat noise, if you will. I know for me, if I have something that has dairy in it, it's disgusting. I'm clearing my throat for days. I got phlegm in me. I'm sinusy. I'm all over the place. She was drinking a protein shake that had whey protein in it, soy protein in it, and sucralose. So she was drinking one of her food allergies almost every single day. So what's that going to do? That's going to cause that mucus production in her throat to keep getting worse and worse and worse over time. And she never really got rid of it. In those days that she didn't have that clearing of the throat, she didn't have the protein. So your food allergies can be very important for you, for your health, for your future, and everyone is going to have a different reaction to those food allergies. So with that being said, I'm out. Share this video if you want to share this video. You do what you want. If you're looking to get tested, if you're looking to get a food allergy test, let me know. Reach out to myself. twwclinics.com. You can find a Wellness Way doc around you. We can ship kits pretty much everywhere. New York's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, but we can get whatever you need to you. So that way you can get tested for you, your family, whoever it is. So that way, again, you know what you're putting in your body and how to cook accordingly. So that being said, take care everyone. Have an awesome day.